In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I made the ceramic frog mechanical sculpture. So to start, my idea going into this project was to make a frog or an animal being consumed by the technology around it. I wanted a project to show, or one of these sculptures to show kind of my theme of, are we pushing technology too far? What does our future look like? And the time we have left. So that's a lot of my themes that I've had for my past sculptures, and I want to continue off that theme because I find the technology and wires and the like all this detail that goes into ceramic sculptures very interesting. I'll put some images on screen that I'm inspired by, and the artist's name as well. I found his work very intriguing, the way it's squeezing the porcelain pottery, and I'm inspired by the way that he uses these mechanical elements to his sculptures to reflect on and contrast the Chinese porcelain. And so inside this project, I wanted to do an innocent looking frog, and then I was going to consume this frog, or this frog is being consumed by all the technology around it. And I wanted it to look like an experiment out of like a crazy scientist lab. So in the past, I've made a sculpture of myself with a bunch of wires and a bunch of mechanical parts connected to my face, and it's an abandoned head and hand to comment on what my future looks like and what are we really valuing here? Are we valuing human life or the technology in front of us? Are we doing these right directions? Just I wanted these questions to come across in the sculpture. I also wanted the frog to look very friendly looking, but I also textured him very grotesque. I added a bunch of texture. I had a bunch of bumps, bruises, and I used the back of a paintbrush along with a really nice metal ball, a texture tool that I have. Or I use it as a texture tool, but it's just like a burnishing tool. And I kept imprinting a bunch of like dots and bumps all over the surface of the frog to add a lot of detail. And then I furthermore added a lot more panels, wires, and just random knobs and trinkets onto the frog. So I was thinking about adding a brain, and I did do that. The way I did that is I took a piece of clay and then I just kind of sketched on the clay with a needle tool, and I just sketched whatever I thought the brain would look like of a frog. I didn't use a reference for the brain. I did use a reference for the frog, and as you saw, I only sketched out the frog until after I sculpted it. That's just because I can look at a reference, and I made it from the reference of like a real frog, and then I could sketch that frog later and add whatever details I wanted. It made it easier on me, but I feel like I've learned a lot by making my sculptures. Like if I sculpt a human head, I learn how to draw a human head better than I would if I had just practiced drawing human heads, which is something I've heard in the past for other artists, and it really helps me too. It helps me visualize the head and all 360 turnaround and be able to draw it. So now I can draw a frog pretty well now from memory, so it's really nice. But yeah, like I was saying about the brain of the frog, so what I did was I took a little lump of clay, I drew on the frog, I drew what I thought the frog brain would look like, and then I put that on the top of the frog's head to look like the brain was exposed. And once this is glazed, I think it'll all make sense. I'm thinking I might buy a glass kind of like a bowl or upside down bowl to cover this frog, because I wanted it to look like kind of like Frankenstein's head inside of a jar. I wanted this frog to be encapsulated by a glass jar to look like more like an experiment and get the theme that I wanted to across, to be inside the sculpture. And I also was thinking about using a little tiny like cap for the top of the brain to see that it's like encapsulated in liquid. I really like the idea of like a cyberpunk ceramic sculpture. I really like the idea of mechanical elements inside of my art contrasted by the animals. Also, in the past, I have made a sculpture of a rhino that was life-sized with teacups, and I've made a video on that in the past too, so go check that out. But I made that rhino, and that portrayed a theme of a innocent animal inside, like contrasted by the humanistic elements of like the teacups. And I want that same idea. I wanted to go inside this sculpture with. I'm thinking that this frog is very innocent looking and very just mundane, a normal looking frog or toad, and then it's being consumed by this futuristic, otherworldly wires and mechanical elements. I thought that was really interesting to combine, and if other people draw their own themes off of this, then go ahead right ahead. If it talks about global warming to you or anything like that, and it's something with nature, I think that's kind of cool that everyone can get their own theme out of it. But I had a lot of fun sculpting it. I thought it was a pretty cool idea. It just came to me while I was alone in the shower. It's funny how all my ideas come from the shower when I'm alone. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you like the sculpture. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below, what I can improve, or if you want to see it glazed, I'll probably make a video about after it's fired. Hopefully the wires stay attached, because I find that I struggle with keeping the wires attached to a bigger body of ceramic work because they dry faster and then they crack off. But let's hope that they stay on. And I will be glazing this in another video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it inspired you, and I will see you in the next one.